So I'm recording now. Welcome back to our last class of the week. So this is Thursday, May 6th. A couple things I need to mention before we get started. First thing is you guys have an assignment due for me this weekend. It's due Saturday at midnight, and I've already had a lot of submissions. There was a mistake in one of the questions, but I have that fixed. So for the students who haven't done the assignment yet, it has been corrected. For the students who did do the assignment, the mistake, when I mark your assignments, I will fix that mistake. So some of you are getting like 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 because of that one question. I will fix that. So don't worry, you're not going to lose marks because of a typo. So get your assignments submitted before Saturday at midnight. Okay, what else do I have to talk about? Well, originally we were going to have a test. And when I say we, there are 5 sections of you guys. So like you will have the same test at the same date as everybody. So like the booking of the test is kind of out of my hands. We're going to do the test with the other sections. So every student in Math 1700, there's like 150 of you. We're going to all do the same test. Originally, we were going to have the test before Eid, but unfortunately, the Eid break got extended, meaning there are no classes next week. And that's really important. A lot of students in my Math 1700 class didn't know that. After today, you guys do not have classes at the college until May 19th. Okay, so Eid, your Eid break is this weekend, starting tomorrow, or probably after this class for most of you, until Wednesday, May 19th. We're going back to normal. So we're going to have the test the next week after that. Test number 1 will actually be on Tuesday. And I'll make a post about this, don't worry. But test number 1 will be a long way away. It will be on Tuesday, May 25th. And that's every student in Math 1700. It's not just you. So we don't have any flexibility there. It has to be Tuesday, May 25th, because we're dealing with 5 sections of math. All right, so that's a long time away.
The text will be
Before you guys
in
write that
unit one.
test, we will do review. We still have some notes to finish, which we'll obviously do after you come back on May 19th. Okay, that's basically it. So just to summarize, I have a message in the chat I'll get to in a minute, but to summarize, get your assignments done this Saturday. The Eid break starts after today, and our first class after Eid, I'll write this on the bottom, our first class is May 19th. That's a Wednesday. That's one of the longest Eid breaks I've ever had. Very long. And then on Tuesday, May 25th, you will have test number 1, which I will review with you, obviously, when we come back. Okay. If any of you over Eid have questions, I am available. I might not get back to you right away in Eid, but I can answer some questions if you give me a day or two for Eid. So there's 2 questions in the chat, which I will address, and then we will continue with our notes. Suher asks which topic or how many topics. I'll talk about that when we come back. It kind of depends on how many classes everybody has had, meaning we have to talk about the other classes. But the topics will be from 1 till probably 11 or 12. I can't answer that right now, but I will let you know when you guys come back on the 19th. What I recommend over Eid is to study the topics we've done already. So over Eid, you can practice topics 1 to 9. We're going to look at topic 9 today. And then there'll be a couple other extra topics after that. This is a private message. There's a student who asks me, where do you find the assignment? To find the assignment, it's really straightforward. Let me share my screen. And I'll go to the college website. So to find your assignment, again, it's quite easy to find. You go to your math website and you can go to the news items. If you click on news, you can see all of the news items. And there's a post about assignment 1 there. I can actually do something with that. I can move it back to the top. So assignment number 1, I'll make it the first item. So if you want to find your assignment, it's right here on the news page. But honestly, guys, the easiest way to find your assignment is in the calendar. Okay, so for the student who mentioned that they couldn't find the assignment, it's in the calendar. Every assignment or test or anything you need will be in the calendar. All right, so you can just click, if you're a student, you can just click on that right there. That's a link. There's no point in me to click on it because I'm the instructor. It'll bring me somewhere different than you. But if you click on this assignment link right here, it will bring you to the assignment. All right, cool. So let's get started. We do have some topics to cover today. I want to finish topic 8 and get us into topic 9, which won't take us very long to get topic 8 finished. So let me share my screen. I'll clear my writing. Okay, so before we get started with anything new, let's talk about what we did yesterday. And I did skip page 91 yesterday. So we're obviously going to look at page 91. Before I do that, just remember what the equation of a line is. This is hopefully something you guys did in school before. If you've never done this before or you can't remember it, no problem, because I'm going to obviously teach it today and I taught it a bit yesterday. So the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. The y and the x are points on the line. The m is your slope and the b is your y-intercept. Now, if you missed class yesterday, you need to watch the video on YouTube because I talked about what slope is. It's the rise over the run. It's how steep your graph is. If you don't know what y-intercept is, this is the place where the graph or the line crosses the y-axis. So the y-intercept is here, for example, in this question. And we did this problem yesterday, and then we're going to do some practice today. Don't worry. So we'll look at these practice problems on page 93 today. However, I skipped page 91 yesterday just because we didn't really have enough time for me to go over this. No, I know I got a message here from Abdul Rahman. Yes, I know we didn't do this yesterday, so I'm going to do it today. We did yesterday do this. We didn't do page 91. So there's 2 reasons I skipped page 91 yesterday. 1, we didn't have enough time, and 2, it's so important that I didn't want to go fast. The slope formula is something you guys are going to need in science, so chemistry and physics. And if you're not a science student, like if you're not in engineering or medical science, in business or IT, you will also look at this. I know in business, we do graphs based on profit or revenue, and we will those students calculate the slope of a line. The formula which will be given to you. You don't need to memorize this formula, but this is such an important formula for your future, for other courses. The formula, the slope, can be calculated using 2 points on a graph. Okay, so there's an example there. this formula calculates the slope, which in other words is what you would call the rate of change of the line, or you could use the rate of change for even a curve. It calculates the average between 2 points. It's such a useful calculation. And the formula, which you do not need to memorize, is M, which is slope. M stands for slope. I don't know why, but M is the letter for slope. And the formula is your change in Y over your change in X, or more simply, Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. Now, let me explain that. Slope is the rise over the run. The rise is up and down, and the run is left and right. Well, if you calculate this as y2 minus y1, well, that's going to tell you how far up the graph goes, how like the distance vertically between the 2 points. So y2 minus y1 is actually how far up or down you go. That's your rise. x2 minus x1, just remember, guys, y is up and down, x is left and right. X2 minus x1 will tell you how far you go left or right. That's the run. So in order to do this question using this formula, we are given 2 points, as you can see right here. And the first thing you need to do is to calculate, or not calculate, sorry, but figure out which is x1 and which is y1. You guys can do that. And which is x2 and which is y2. You guys do that. You basically label your points. So I'm asking you, or I'm telling you that this is 2 points on that graph. And I'm going to say that the first is x and the second is y. So x1 and y1. And then here we would have x2 and y2. Just remember, guys, that the points on a graph are always x, then y. No exceptions. X first, then y. So we would take these numbers and put them into the formula. We're going to practice this shortly. Once I know the slope, this next part is a little interesting. So I did y2 minus y1, that was 5 minus 1. x2 minus x1, that's 3 minus 1. So I would get 6 over 2, or 3. How do I find the rest of the equation? Well, what I'm going to do is use my new equation, y equals mx plus b, and for m, I will put in 3. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use any point for x and y. Now, what do I mean by any point? I mean, obviously a point on this graph. I'm choosing for this example to make or to use these points, 3 and 5. I'm circling up here. So for y, I'm going to put in 5. For x, I'm going to put in 3. And then I can solve for b. Now that I know m, and I know b, I can find my equation. Now, let me show you. I know that this is a little bit confusing. Let me show you one. So if this doesn't make sense, just watch this question. Find the equation of a line through the points with coordinates 1 and 2 and 3 and negative 2. So I have the points 1 and 2, and I have 3 and negative 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to obviously label these x and y, but I'm going to call my first point x1 and y1, and my second point x2 and y2. It really doesn't matter what order you put them in, as long as you keep, the ones with one set of numbers and the 2 with the other set of numbers. So I basically go, the first set is number 1, the second set is number 2. Now I can solve for slope. It's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Just remember, guys, you are given this formula. You don't need to memorize the formula. So it's going to be -2 minus 2 divided by 3 minus 1. Okay, let me check the chat before I move on because there's a few messages. Excellent. So I'm getting some answers in the chat there. That's perfect. Okay, if you don't trust yourself, use your calculator. -2 minus 2 is a -4 over 3 minus 1. This is a 2. So the slope here is -2. And again, if you don't know where I got that, well, one, you should watch some of the earlier classes, but you should also use your calculator. Now, the y-intercept is the challenging part. I know that my formula for this line is y equals mx plus b. Well, what I'm going to do is put in some numbers here to figure out b. I like to use positive numbers. So I'm going to use, let me remove this. I'm going to use this point and this number that I circled in red to solve this equation. So 2 equals -2 times 1 plus b. Okay, if you're wondering where these numbers come from, I'm using these numbers and this number. Nasser, you raised your hand. Do you have a question?
Mr. Mark, can I use like both of the points? Like x1 and y1, or
Okay,
x2
nothing yet. Nasser,
y2?
if you do have a question, I noticed you raised your hand, let me know. Now I'm going to solve this equation for b. So this becomes 2 equals -2 plus b. 2 plus 2 equals b. b is 4. All right, guys, we're done. That's it. So the equation of the line is y equals -2x plus 4. That's it. Nothing to it. Well, I shouldn't say that, but it's not too bad. Nasser, I cannot hear you. Oh, hold on. Okay, Nasser, sorry, I had my speakers muted. What was your question? You can talk now. Sorry about that.
Now you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah. I was asking about the points. Can I use like both points, like x1 and y2, or like the both points, like for the equation of the y-intercept?
Okay, good question. You can't use okay. You can use either coordinate, meaning you can use this or this. You can't use both. You choose. You can use 1 and 2, or you can use 3 and -2.
But both of them are fine, yeah? Like
Yes,
I could
both.
use both.
Yeah, both are fine. Just
Yeah.
don't mix them. Don't mix up the 2 points.
Is it gonna be the same answer or different?
Yes, yeah, it will be the exact same answer. You can try it yourself,
Okay.
but I promise you it will be the same.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. Sorry I couldn't hear you. All right. So guys, we did this yesterday. So check YouTube if you want to see this one. What I would like is maybe we can't practice. I mean, obviously there's a million questions here. We can't practice all of these. I mean, some of these are meant for you guys to do on your own. Let's see, what would be a good one? Just trying to think of what would be good for practice. I mean, these questions are kind of like set up in groups of 2. So questions 1 and 2 are the same, 3 and 4 are the same, 5 and 6 are the same. Why don't you guys try 4 and 5? But before you do that, number 1 is very easy. The slope is 3, the y-intercept is 5. Y equals mx plus b. So y equals 3x minus 5. This is M, this is B. That's easy. I want you guys to try some challenging ones. So why don't you take 5 minutes and try 4 and 5? Okay, I'll mute myself. If you have any questions, let me know. We did this question yesterday. So if you missed class yesterday, you might not know how to do number 4, but we did number 5 today. So if you can't do number 4, at least try number 5. And I'll be back in 5 minutes. All right, good luck. Maybe 3 minutes, 3 or 5 minutes. Good luck. Okay, I have an answer from Fatima. I actually don't know the answer. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but it looks okay. Keep working, guys. Try number 5. Try number 4. Take 3 more minutes. This I will say, wink, wink, wink. This is very, very important for your test. So make sure you guys try these both. And again, if you don't know what to do, I'm going to show you in 2 minutes. All right, keep going. All right. I got another answer, private message. I got the answer for, oh, you're saying B. I don't know what you mean by B, but I'm getting different answers unless this was number. If to the student who wrote me a private message, you might mean for B, you might mean number 5, and then that might be okay. So let's have a look. Let's well, okay. Actually, first, before I do the answers, let's have a look, or sorry, let's give you a minute to finish off what you're working on. Then we'll look at the answers. So just kind of finish up if you're doing number 4 or 5, and then I'll very slowly and carefully show you the answers to this. I'm really excited for the next topic, topic number 9. It's going to be fun, I think.
In 5, I have decimal numbers. Is that right?
What do you mean? You have that's so. Is this Bilal talking?
Abdurrahman.
I don't know what you mean. What are you trying to say for number 5?
Fraction.
Oh, fractions are fine. Nothing wrong with
Fraction
fractions.
numbers.
Yep, fractions are good.
No problem. Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
No problem. All right, let's have a look at your answers. Well, sorry, let's look at the answers. And remember, there's nothing wrong with a fraction. You are more than welcome to use decimals, but fractions are cool. Nothing wrong with fractions. So find the equation of the line that passes through -5 and 6 and has a slope of 4. Okay, M is already solved for me. So actually, for number 4, we are at the exact place where we start in number 5 after we find the slope. The problem with number 4 is I don't know B, and the same goes for number 5. In both of these questions, I do not know number or letter B. So first thing I'm going to do is solve to find B. Okay, so I can pick, well, I have to pick these points. Now remember, guys, these points are X, then Y. So for my Y, I'm going to put in 6. For my M, I'm going to put in 4. I don't like that 4. I'll fix my 4. For my X, I'm going to put in -5. And then I'm going to solve for B. I do not know what B is. So 6 equals -20 plus B. So that means my B is 26. Excellent. Okay, well, guys, I'm done. My equation now is Y equals 4X plus 26. That's it. You put your slope in and your Y-intercept in, the B, and you leave the Y and X as variables. All right, so did Fatima get that? Yes, excellent. So the answer for number 4 was done perfectly. Now, for question 5, I'm getting fractions or decimals. And honestly, I do not mind if you guys use whatever you're comfortable with. You might like fractions, you might like decimals. So let's look at number 5. Number 5 is a bit more work. The problem with number 5 is I do not know M and I don't know B. So step number 1 is to find M. Now, I'm going to call this X and this Y, and I'm going to call this X and this Y. But what I need to do is apply or give them the number 1 and 2. And I'm a left to right kind of person, meaning I'm just going to call this 1 and 1 and this 2 and 2. It really doesn't matter which order you put them in as long as you keep your points together. So I like to go left to right. The left point, the first point that's written is number 1, and the second point that's written is number 2. Okay, M equals y2 minus y1 over
6
x
over 11.
2. Yeah? Question?
6 over 11.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think you're right. I think it is 6 over 11. Thank you very much. One thing I'll mention here before I write, I think you are correct at 6 over 11. Just remember, guys, that you do not have to memorize this formula. This formula will be provided to you, okay? So we're getting 6 over 11. Let's see. It's going to be 2 minus a minus 4 over 8 minus a minus 3. Nasser, you raised your hand. Do you have a question?
Can the fraction be decimal?
Yes.
Can I turn it into a decimal?
Yep, I mentioned that a minute ago. You guys can use fractions or decimals, whatever you want.
Oh,
all right. So M is done. Now I need to find B. So Y is equal to MX plus B. I have a reason for doing this. I'm going to pick the second point to do my B calculation. The only reason I'm picking the second point is because they're positive, and I just find personally I make less mistakes if I don't have to worry about negative numbers. You guys can use point number 1 or point number 2. I like to use as many positives as I can. So this is going to be 2 equals 6 over 11 times x, which is, 8 plus b. Okay, and then you can use your calculator to solve this. Okay, now this might be easier if you're dealing with a decimal because you don't have to worry about fractions. But basically what this is going to be is 2 equals 48 over 11 plus b. So b is going to be, now you can use decimals if you want to. I know with my Casio calculator, if I went 2 minus 48 over 11, I would get my answer as a negative 26 over 11. Or if you did this on a calculator, you would get the decimal negative 2.36. Both are fine. Okay. Between us, typically on a test, we like to have the equations be a little neater than this, meaning your B might be like -6 instead of a decimal, but it's okay. Nasser, you have a question?
Mr. Mark, my answer came out different.
Okay, you might want to check your calculation again. Let me just check the chat.
Okay.
This is right. It is right. So you just check your calculator again.
It's minus 2.32, I think.
It's definitely
that's my answer.
It's definitely not minus 2.32. It should be minus 2.36. Try this on your calculator again.
Okay, I will check it again. Thank you.
Yeah. So the answers for this, you can use a decimal if you want. So 6 over 11 would give me 0.55 minus 2.36. Whatever you guys want. You can use fractions or you can use decimals, whatever you're comfortable with. But I will say between us, if when you do this on a test, you will typically have nicer numbers, as in number 4, it will typically look like this. Not always, but on a test, we like to make them nice and pretty. All right, guys. So Topic 9. Before you all leave me today, I have a couple things to mention because of Eid, because of Ramadan, because of intercession. Me and the other math instructors are cutting some things out of this course, topic 10 being one of them. So we're going to do number 9 right now, but if you have to leave early, so we're going to do topic number 9 here. If you have to leave early, make sure you check out the end of this video, because at the end, I'm going to mention a couple things. We are going to completely skip Kramer's rule and determinants, and we're also going to eliminate or skip topic 10. Okay, this will help you when you're studying over Eid. You can study topics 1 to 9. Do not look at number 10. Okay, so topics 1 to 9 are good. Topic 10, you can omit. All right, speaking of omitting means don't do it. We're not going to do this last section, which is good because it'll save us a lot of time. And guys, I'm secretly so excited for the next part. I haven't done this in a few years because I haven't taught Math 1700 in a few years. When I was in high school, this was one of my most favorite things ever. I used to love doing this. Solving systems of equations with two variables using graphing, substitution, or the elimination method. This was one, I didn't really like math a whole lot. I definitely didn't hate it as much as some people. I did like it. I tend to like the sciences a little better, but I can almost remember sitting in the classroom when I was like 16, 17, doing this topic. I loved it. This is such a useful topic for sciences and business students. This is solving for unknowns. It's such especially my business students, this is such an important topic. I cannot stress this enough. For the business people, you are going to definitely need this. If you're in engineering or med science, it's good to know, but my business students, you will need this. Oh, I'm kind of excited, and I hope we have enough time, but what time do we end today? We're going to be done before 3:40 today. So this, by the way, is our last Ramadan class. So when you guys come back in May 19th or on May 19th, we're going to be back to the normal schedule, or I should say regular schedule. I will remind you of that over Eid, don't worry. But when you guys come back on Wednesday the 19th, your classes are back to your regular scheduled hours. And I will remind you, don't worry. So topic 9, okay, we've talked about linear equations. We've graphed linear equations. What do we do when we're trying to solve for them? Well, there's 4 methods, but because of the extra Eid and because of intercession and Ramadan, we're only going to do 3 of these. We're going to skip matrices. We're going to keep it simple. These are the first 3 methods are really simple. The 4th method here, it's really nice if you have a graphing calculator, but most of you don't. So this is going to be good. We're going to look at solving equations using graphs. Wink, wink, business people. This is really important. Then we're going to solve equations without graphs. We're going to use kind of, I guess, algebra to solve them using a method called substitution and a method called elimination. Elimination is my personal favorite. If you told me I had to solve an equation and you gave me all of these methods, elimination is my personal favorite. So let's take the next 30 minutes or so, 35 minutes maybe, and let's look at the 3 methods. The first method we've actually already done, or we've already completed this. Solving a system of equations with a graph. Now, first of all, what is a system of equations and what is up with this squiggly bracket here? A system of equations is two equations or two lines. And solving them is basically finding out where they intersect. Oops, not insect, intersect. If you don't know what I mean by intersect, I mean where they cross each other. So if you think about this, a system of equations is two equations. The squiggly brackets just mean that these equations are related. We're going to find out where they touch. There's three ways to do it. You can use a graph and visually find out where they touch, or you can use math and not graph it and find out where they touch. And I want to show you something before we get into this question here. I want to remind you of this very useful website called Desmos. Now, first things first, let me write down these numbers. I want to show you over EAD if you're practicing. How can you, check your graphs out? Well, give me 1 second here and I will show you. I'm just writing down the equations. Okay. So recall from topic 7, these equations, we can use our graphing method to figure out the slope. We can figure out the y-intercept. We can graph these graphs. We're going to look at this in a minute. But you can use Desmos, this website, to actually help you when you're studying. So let me show you this before we get started. Let me share my new screen. Where is it? Screen. Here it is. Okay, so I just went to Google and I typed in the word Desmos, and Desmos here, if I click on this link, it will bring me to a website where I can open up a graphing calculator. This is a free graphing calculator, and I can type in my two equations of my line. I'm copying this straight from the notes. There's one line, and my other line was this: 4x plus 2y equals 16. Okay, so there's my two lines. The first line is red, the second line is blue. The solution is where the lines intersect. It's where they cross. So if I take my mouse and I put it over that point, it tells me 2 and 4. The solution, the answer to this graph or this question is x is 2 and y is 4. This is going to be very good for you when you're studying to practice your graphs. Okay, what if you're doing a test and you do not have a graph, or you don't have a fancy website like this? Well, we're going to practice this. Okay, so let me show you this example. Okay, for these questions, we're going to solve this system of equation by graphing. I guess this isn't the best example to show you. Maybe I'll show you doing this one. But the idea is we figure out our lines, we graph them. So I would graph this line and I would graph this line. I'll show you how this works in a minute. And then we would find out where those graphs touch. They touch at 3 and 1. The answer is x equals 3, y equals 1. Let me do one. This doesn't really help us. Let's do one together, okay? I find this really hard to explain if it just shows the answer. I want to do one with you. Okay, number 1. Let me clear this up. Sorry, guys. Let me clear my drawings here, and I'll show you. Sorry. Sorry, something's in the way of my mouse. There we go. Okay, so how do we do this? Step number 1, we need to graph each line. This is a line and this is a line. So my first line, x plus y equals 4, that's good, but it's not in the format of y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to rearrange this equation to make sure it's in the format of y equals mx plus b. Now, a couple things about this equation. Well, first of all, what did I do? I move the x over. When the x gets moved over, it obviously becomes negative. Okay, so I have this in the format of y equals mx plus b. What is my m and what is my b? My m, my slope, is -1/1, and my b is 4. So I can graph this line right away. Where did I get -1/1? It's from here. There's actually just a little 1 in front of this x. So let's graph this line. I'll do one line in red and one line in blue. So for the red line, for this equation, I'm going to make b, my y-intercept is at 4. So there's a point. And my slope is going to be, and we did this yesterday. So if you guys don't know how to draw these lines, we did this yesterday. I'm going to go down 1 and over 1. And there's my next point. When you have 2 points, you can make a graph. I'm going to connect these points with a line. That's it. Use a ruler, use whatever you have handy. I have a computer, luckily, so I can connect these points. So there we go. I want to make sure these are connected nicely. Hold on, that's not right. Sorry, my dots are a little big here. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to make them a little smaller so I can actually draw my line. I want my line to be as nice as possible. So B is 4. Let's zoom in, actually. Oh, no, I can't. Never mind. I can't zoom in because that'll mess up something else. Okay, so B is 4. I go down 1 and over 1 for my slope. Now I want to connect these lines. All right. So draw your lines as long as possible. There we go. That's my red line. Okay, what about my blue one? I'll change my pen to blue. What about this guy? Now this guy's going to take a little bit more work. 3x minus 2y equals 2. Okay, so -2y equals -3x plus 2. Now, what did I do there? I just moved the 3 over. I'm trying to get this into the form of y equals mx plus b. Now, I have a problem. I need to get rid of this -2. So I'm going to divide everything by -2. So y equals 3 over 2x minus 1. That's my second line. For this line, my slope is 3 over 2, and my b, my y-intercept, is -1. Oops, and I need to scroll up again. There we go. Okay. Are there any questions? I know, Nasser, you just raised your hand. Do you have a question?
Mr. Mark, the slope, the denominator is y or x?
Neither.
Neither?
The slope does not have y or x in it. The slope is 3 over 2.
But on the first slope, the -1/1, which one is the minus?
It doesn't matter. You might want to watch the class from yesterday. We talked about this. It doesn't matter which one's the minus as long as you just pick one of them. It could be the top, it could be the bottom.
So if I wanted to go left, is that possible, or just or I have to go right?
No, if again, for anybody confused, you might want to check out the class yesterday because we talked about this. This -1 and 1 means we can go down and right, or we can go up and left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, check out the class from yesterday. But yeah, you for -1 over 1, choose one of them to be negative, and we can either go down and right, or up and left? And again, that's definitely a great question. Just make
Yeah.
sure you practice.
If it's a negative, I go down, right? If it's positive, I go up.
Yes.
Okay. And if I'm going right, it doesn't matter if.
Right is positive, left is negative.
Oh, okay. Right is positive, and okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. So guys, if you can't remember that, look at your graph, look at Y. Positive is up, negative is down. On the X, positive is right, negative is left. So just keep that in mind. Again, I don't want to spend too much time. We did this yesterday in great detail. So for anybody who, that's a great question, and anybody wondering, just check out that video from yesterday. Okay, so my B is -1. So there's a point here, -1. My M is 3/2. So I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 2. Look at that. Oh, I have a good intersection already. This was a pretty easy one. I think I picked an easy one for myself. So this line, oh, let me pick blue, change my color. Right, so there's my line. I'll make it a little longer. And my answer, the answer to this graph is, oops, sorry, let me pick, here we go. What color should I do now? Let's go green. The answer or the solution to this graph is 2 and 2. X equals 2, Y equals 2. That's my answer. This point, this green point here, is 2 on the X, 2 on the Y. All right, I have a chat message. Yeah, as Nasser says in the chat, you guys get the hard ones. So let's see. Oops, sorry, let me clear my lines here. The lines really confused me for a second. So I would like you guys to take a minute and try number 2. Now, one thing I want to mention before you do number 2, really important here. This you might be a little bit confused about. 2x minus 3y equals 0. So minus 3y equals -2x plus 0. I'm going to leave the 0 there for 1 second. Y equals 2. So, okay, so what I'm going to do now is I want to get that y by itself. So I'm going to divide all of these by -3. Y is equal to 2/3x plus 0. What this means is that my slope is 2/3 and my y-intercept is 0. That means you're going to start at 0. Even though this is a 0, it's not meant to confuse you. If your b is a 0, start at 0. Nasser, you have a question?
Why did the signs change?
What is -2 divided by -3 on your calculator?
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
I have to put it on my calculator.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. So Nasser asked a good question. What's going on here? Why did the negatives turn magically into a positive? Well, negative and negative cancel each other out, which leaves us with a positive. Cool. Okay, so guys, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to see if you guys can graph this line. Okay, so you need to solve this for y, and I want you to see if you can graph this line. I'll give you maybe 2 or 3 minutes for this, and that'll be it. Or not it for today, but it for this question. All right, so take 2 minutes or 3 minutes. I'll be back. We'll look at your answer. For anybody wondering, by the way, I have the red line finished. Okay. And one thing I'll mention as you're doing the blue line, if you don't like this, like if this is hard, you don't like graphing, or you don't have the ability to do this on Zoom, because I know we're on Zoom, the next topic, I'm going to show you how to do this without ever touching a graph. So if you guys really don't like graphing, I'm going to show you this using just mathematics. So for the people who hate graphs, wait around for a few minutes. For the people who love graphs, well, this is for you. And I'll give you 2 minutes to get the blue line done, and then we'll look at the answer. One more minute. This isn't my favorite type of question to do on Zoom. I know that like you guys probably can't graph on a computer screen. So take one more minute. And again, for those of you who are not having a good time right now because you can't graph, I'm going to show you how to do this without ever touching a graph. So in about, let's say 30 seconds or so, we'll look at the answer. Bilal mentions that he's done, and one thing I'll say too is if you guys do want to use a graph, or if you want to try this on your own computers, don't forget, just check out this site Desmos. You can graph this on your computers if you want to practice this. Nasser, you have a question.
Mr. Mark, I have the answer.
Oh, okay. What's the answer?
The M is 2/3 and the B is -4.
Okay, let's check it out. Okay, let's see. So we're doing the blue line, of course. Sorry, I'm talking about colors. What I mean by the blue line is the second line. So first things first, I move the 2 over. Now this is going to be, so keep the 3y. Oh, okay, that's not going to work. Anyways, keep the 3y, guys. I'm down here on the bottom. I'm going to move the 2 over, so it becomes a -2x plus 12. Now what I'm going to do is divide everything by 3. So y is equal to -2/3x plus 4. And just as Nasser said here, my m is -2/3 and my b is 4. All right.
Yep, I made a mistake.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Don't forget when you move this over, it changes signs.
Yeah, because I did. I changed the signs for 3 and 3y. I made it negative.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because I thought I moved it, but it's okay. Thank you.
No problem. So guys, a slope of -2/3 means I'm going to go, it's -2. So I'm going to go down 2, And I'm going to go over 3. Look at this. We get the same thing again. These lines are going to cross here. So it actually, you guys got a good one too. A pretty straightforward one. So I connect my dots with my line. Okay. And the solution I'll do, and I didn't like green. Let's try purple. My solution is here. This point is, actually, let me put it in brackets here. This is 3 and 2. So x, the solution of this is x equals 3, y equals 2. Done. Now, again, some of you guys might not like this because it's hard to graph during. Thank you, Bilal, for the answer there. You have it. Yeah, 3 and 2. That's perfect. Remember, x goes first, then y. I'm just talking about the answer I got in the chat. Thank you very much. Some of you. Okay, sorry, I got another good question. But some of you don't or might not like to graph, so I'm going to show you how to do this without the graph. And Isra, there's a question in the chat from Isra. Very good question that I have to talk to the other teachers about. It says, on the test, can we choose any way to solve this? I think the answer is yes, but I'll let you know closer to the test. I don't think we've done the test yet. But, you know, I think if I was going to do this, I would let you choose any method. So you could graph it, you could pick substitution or elimination. Okay, I'll answer that in better detail next class, which is, of course, after Eid, once we have a copy of the test. All right, I strongly recommend you guys practice these. Remember, we're not going to do every problem in this book. We'd never finish, but you can definitely practice these. I don't know if we're going to finish elimination, but I would like to show you at least one method today. How do we do this without graphing? So there's 2 ways you can do this. And to answer Isra's question about this topic, when you're given this on a test, you can pick any method for solving it without a graph. So if I give you a system of equations like this, you could use substitution or elimination. I will never ask you for a specific method. I don't know if I'm going to have time to show you elimination, but I can certainly show you substitution. Once Eid is finished and we're all back on May 19th, we will obviously do a quick review of this because, you know, Eid is going to be a long break. But let's do the substitution first. Okay, so this is one of the 2 methods where we do not need a graph. The substitution method is named substitution because what we're going to do is we're going to solve for a variable in one equation and substitute, which means to put in or place the answer into the other, and then we solve for that variable. This sounds really complicated, but let me show you this. This is an example. It's done. Let me show you how this works. Okay. Solve the following system by the substitution method. All right, no graphs. What are we going to do? Well, I have 2 equations. I have x plus 2y equals minus 10. And the second equation is good. It's done for me. Y equals 2x plus 5. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to write something really big, but then I'm going to erase it. So just kind of watch this for 1 second. These are my 2 equations. What I'm going to do, I know that y is 2x plus 5. So I'm going to substitute that number that answer 2x plus 5 into my first equation. This is called substitution. I'm going to take, instead of writing y in the first equation, I'm going to put 2x plus 5. Okay, now I told you I was going to erase that. So watch what happens when I do that. So I'm just going to get rid of this. Don't worry, it'll make sense, or I hope it makes sense. I'm going to take, let me zoom in for the 1 second here. I'm going to take this number and put it in for y. Okay, so let's do it. This is way easier than it looks. So I'm going to take the first equation. It's x plus 2y equals negative 10. And instead of the y, I'm going to write x plus 2, 2x plus 5 equals negative 10. Again, in English, substitute means to replace something. Now all I have to do is solve. Now I'm just going to solve. That's it. Oh, I mean, that's part one, but I am just going to solve this. So x plus 4x plus 10 equals negative 10. 5x equals negative 10 minus 10. 5x is minus 20. I'm going a little quick through this, not the question, but you guys should know how to solve this. X equals negative 4. Anybody confused with this right here, you definitely want to go back and look at some old classes. Eid is a good time for you guys. I know you're going to want to, relax and spend time with friends and family, but Eid is also a good time to watch some old videos, so you know how to solve equations. All right, Fatima already has the answer for me. That's amazing. Now, guys, I know what x is, but what is y? Well, the beautiful thing about y is I know that y is 2x plus 5. So I'm going to say, well, if x is negative 4, y is going to be negative 8 plus 5. Y is 3. There we go. Without even touching a graph, I know that my answer is negative 4 and 3. Done. If you're wondering what I did for this part here, I took my equation and I put negative 4 in for that equation. Where did the negative 4 come from? Came from over here. This is why it's called the substitution. This looks crazy, but I promise you it's not that bad if you practice. Now,
Sir, but I can use anyway, right?
yes, anyway. For me, I'm a huge fan of the third method. So if you'd like to graph it, you can graph it. If you want to substitute, you can substitute. I'm an elimination person myself. I don't think I'm going to get to elimination today because there is one part left. This question, guys, was made easy. It's not always going to look like this. What if your system looks like this? What if your system doesn't have y equals? So there might be one extra step here. So if you look at this solution, we might need to solve one of the equations for one of the variables, unfortunately. This is why elimination is my favorite method. With elimination, you don't have to actually do this, but that is something we'll talk about in the future. So here's an answer. Let me do one for you. Again, I don't find it very useful to explain something that's already written. Let me show you one. And guys, for this problem, I'm going to do one, and then I'm going to get you guys to do one, and then we'll check the time. All right, how do we do this using the substitution method? Well, I'm going to do number 2. This question is not rearranged in a way that I know what y equals. So the first thing I'm going to do in one of these equations is solve for y. It doesn't matter which equation I choose. I could actually, guys, I could also solve for x, by the way. It really doesn't matter what I solve for. Why don't we solve for x? Let's mix things up a little bit. So what I mean is, as long as I solve for one variable, I'm okay. And you'll see what I mean. So let's take that first equation and let's rearrange it. X is going to be -2 plus, y. Now, why did I do that? Well, I chose that because it was such an easy example. You guys can solve for whatever you want. You could solve for y, you could solve for x. I'm going to take this equation and simplify it as x equals -2 plus y and go from there. All right, let me erase this part because I already had that written. So now what do I do? Now that I've solved for a variable, sorry guys, just trying to get rid of all my writing here. Now I can get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this information and put it into the second equation. You cannot put it back into itself. So 4x plus 2y equals 16. 4 times -2 plus y equals, oh, sorry. Oh, hold on, sorry. Plus y, sorry about that. Plus 2y equals 16. Okay, so what did I do? Instead of writing x, I put this in for x. This is why it's called the substitution method. So instead of writing x, I put in this number for x. Now I can solve my equation. So -8 plus 4y plus 2y equals 16. That would be 6y equals 16 plus 8. Y is going to be 16 plus 8 is 24 over 6 or 4. All right, let me check the chat before I move on. Oh, somebody mentioned something about page 99. Oh, yeah. I'll go back to that in a minute. There's some, I think it was Fatima in the chat mentioned something about page 99. I'll go back to that. Okay, so let's do let's finish number 2. Now I know what y is. Let's solve my equation. Well, this is the best part, is I know that x is -2 plus y. So -2 plus 4, x is going to be 2. And I'm done. My answer is 2 and 4. If I graph this, I would get the same thing. I am finished. All right. So this we won't have time for elimination today, but that's okay. We can do elimination after the break because after Eid, I'm going to show you all this anyways to give you a reminder. But why don't you guys take the end of class here and try number 1? Try this guy. Before you guys try number 1, there was a typo or not a typo, but a mistake by me in number, or on page 99, -8 minus 5. -8 minus 5 is a -3. Sorry about that. I made a little boo-boo, a little mistake there. Okay, so have a look at my answer for number 2 and see if you can do number 1. All right, guys, and I'll give you a couple minutes for that. We'll look at the answer and then halas, we are finished. All right, good luck. Any questions, let me know. Oh, I got an answer already from Fatima, 0 and -4. That's excellent. That looks good, but let's give everybody else a couple minutes to see if you get this answer, 0 and -4. Let's see. All right, keep working. I'll give you another minute or two, and then we'll check your answers. Okay, let's check it out. Let's see what you guys get for this. The chat, everybody in the chat is saying the same stuff, which is excellent. Isra, Nasser, Bilal, Fatima, we're all getting the same thing. So give me a second here. Why is that not working? Hold on. Get rid of that. I'm talking to myself, don't mind me. I just want to, okay, never mind. I don't want to erase all my work, but I think I'm gonna, how am I gonna do this? Nasser, while I'm erasing, you can ask your question.
Mr. Mark, if I had to do the graphing technique, would I get the chance to have a graph like in the test, like
Yes.
to graph it? Or
Yeah.
what about the other methods like the substitution one? Would I get a separate question for it, or is it, or I can do it like in the same question without doing the graphing technique?
Somebody asked that earlier, so this is my second time answering that.
Okay.
I don't know what your test is going to look like, so I can tell you right now, if you got this question here, you could solve this using substitution or elimination. We haven't done elimination yet. I don't know. I haven't seen your test. I mean, your test is May 25th. So I haven't seen it yet. But if you're given, if I want you to graph it, you will be given a graph like this.
So technically, I have 3 methods for one question.
You have, yeah, I guess there's 3 methods to solve one question. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay. So let's look at this one now. Can I do this without zooming in? Let's, oh, I can do it like this. All right. Let's very quickly get the answer for this. Before anybody leaves, I want to give you or tell you something about some things we're going to skip in this book. This will help you if you're reviewing over Eid. So first things first, number 1. Why don't I solve for x here? This would be a very easy way to solve this equation. So x is equal to 4 minus y. That's a really kind of easy way to approach this. You could solve for y. Some of you guys might have taken this equation and said, well, y is -4 minus 2x. It doesn't matter. Pick one variable and solve for it. And I think this is a good, easy variable to solve for. X is equal to 4 minus y. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the second equation now. Because I solved the first equation for x, I'm going to take the second and I'm going to put in my substitution from the first equation. And now I just solve. So I would get 8 minus 2y plus y equals -4. This is going to be negative y equals -4 plus 8. Sorry, minus 8. Did I do that right? -2. I think people got different answers than me, maybe. But
Teacher,
anyway.
at the top, I think plus, not minus.
Let me just make sure I'm doing this okay. Yes, you're right. Plus. Yep. This is plus. Plus. So this would be 3y. Sorry about that. Going too quick, talking to myself. It's plus. Okay, if you just let me explain that. Thank you for fixing that for me, or telling me that. When I move this y over, it becomes positive. There we go. Okay, so 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times y is 2y. 2y plus y is 3y. And now I'm going to divide both of these by 3. So y is going to equal -12 over 3, which is -4. All right, now we're talking. All right, so now that I know my y value, I can find my x value. X is 4 plus y. I know that from up top here. So x is 4 plus a -4, which is 0, and I'm done. So my answer to this, y is -4, x is 0, which is this point right here, 0 and -4. Finished. I kind of ran out of room there, but you get the idea. Whew. Looking at this, it looks quite crazy, but it's actually not that bad once you practice. And I highly recommend you guys do some of these for practice. There's so many of them you could do. Okay, it's 3:38. We're done. We're supposed to finish at 3:40, which is perfect. One thing I'll mention, and this is it, and I really hope you guys enjoy your Eid, but one thing I'll mention is you can eliminate pages 107 and 108 and 109 and 110. Okay, so this topic of determinants and all the pages that follow, we are not going to do. So pages 107 to 110, you can get rid of it. Get rid of it. And we are not doing topic 10. All of topic 10 you can get rid of. So when you come back on May 19th, we're going to finish topic 9 and we're going to get into topic 11. You can skip all of topic 10 and we'll get into, word problems in topic 11. All right, guys. So that's it for me today. I kind of wish we had time to do the elimination method, but we can always do that when you guys come back after Eid. So have a fantastic Eid. Take a good break. Don't forget to practice some math. And if you have any questions, let me know. All right, guys. So have a good break.